this is my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so in this episode, we actually see the fight between Josuke and Highway Star, and, well, truth be told, the fight's actually a little bit interesting in that Josuke, for the most part, isn't able to actually fight against the stand due to the nature of how it works, but it is definitely very interesting in that he's facing off against an automatic stand and has to keep moving or he won't be able to defeat it. So it starts off with Josuke having just left the subway under the tunnel where the stand first manifested itself, and as he's driving and recalling all the things that Rohan told him to keep ahead of the stand, he then proceeds to think about what's so special about the tunnel in the first place, pointing out that the stand only manifests itself in that specific tunnel, and on top of that, it sucks out people's nutrients, and he realizes that there's likely a deeper connection there. So his immediate reaction is to call Koichi and have him investigate so that he can actually figure it out. And having gone at 80 miles per hour up to this point, and through simple math, he believes that he has at least 2 minutes to put in a call to Koichi from a payphone and actually call him, only for that plan to completely fall apart when Highway Star reveals that it can teleport and catches up to him that way. At which point Josuke realizes that he needs to actually find a cell phone if he wants to actually call somebody. So he proceeds to continue driving on the highway, almost running over a baby, but not really, because he uses his stand to break up and put the bike back together again, which works. And eventually he does find a cell phone. One that the first one he finds accidentally breaks, and also, as a joke, both of the men he steals cell phones from are in the middle of this really big important phone call. The first guy was in charge of this big business transaction thing that he was about to foreclose, and then he loses his phone and it breaks, and it takes him a few minutes to realize that what's going on, and he realizes that he just got screwed out of 1.2 billion yen. Apparently Josuke screwed a guy of 1.2 billion yen, and now he's likely going to get fired. And another guy was about to propose to his girlfriend, only for her to be hung up on by Josuke. But in any case, he does call Koichi, and in the process performs one of the most dangerous techniques anybody has ever performed in any anime: talking on his cell phone while driving. So yeah. Don't talk on your cell phone while you're driving. That's dangerous. Don't do that ever. I mean, Josuke's in the unique position where he can use his stand to break up his vehicle and put it back together so that he doesn't run over anybody. But still, don't talk on your cell phone while you're driving. But in any case, Josuke calls up Koichi, who is about to take his dog Police for a walk. And as he's about to do that, he suddenly gets a call from Josuke, and after being caught up on the situation, Koichi helps Josuke investigate the stand user and what happened to him. And eventually Koichi does land on a article that he read a couple of days ago about a stand user about a guy who apparently was in an accident in the tunnel, was in critical condition, and got moved to Budagaoka General. So yeah, he got moved to the Budagaoka General Hospital, and Josuke and Koichi both come to the conclusion that the guy most likely is the stand user. And Josuke has Koichi go to the hospital to investigate while he tries to find his way to the hospital and keep Highway Star at bay. But as he's doing that, he suddenly realizes that he's in the Bay Area and is in Memorial Bay. So he realizes that he's likely going to get caught sooner or later if he's not careful. So he makes a couple of risky sharp turns. He makes one sharp turn where he just turns in between a bunch of shipping crates, but this winds up being a dead end for him, and he has to use Crazy Diamond to create a wall to defend himself. At which point Josuke realizes a weakness of Highway Star, that while in its searching form, the little footprints, it can't actually see or know where he is. So it just kind of travels in a straight line following scent alone. So Josuke is able to use that to his advantage to buy himself some time until he can figure out a way to actually escape. And eventually he does find a draining ditch in the in the canal, which he then uses to actually sneak away from Highway Star as it reforms itself and tries to figure out where he went. And he does succeed in doing that, going through the little drainage ditch, until he finds out that the bike is actually running out of gas. And while initially confused because he doesn't think it's a problem he can fix, he then realizes that it is indeed out of gas, and realizing that Highway Star is closing in on him, he decides to solve both problems at once. What he does is he uses Crazy Diamond to bust into a car, then traps Highway Star in the car while he fills it up with gas. So at which point he realizes he's lost and doesn't actually know where the hospital is. But he does eventually figure it out. So, at which point Koichi has since gone to Budogaoka General Hospital and is talking with the nurse at her station there to try and figure out which of the hospital patients is actually the Highway Star stand user. However, the nurse actually outright refuses to give Koichi the time of day, pointing out the visiting hours are over. But when he insists that he needs to see the man immediately, she just calls him a useless brat and makes fun of how short he is and tells him to get lost. At which point he decides to mess with her and summons Echo Zack 3, who then utters one of the best English lines ever. I mean, not as good as United States of Smash from My Hero Academia, but definitely up there as a iconic line. If you've seen the anime, you know what it is. But in case after uttering that iconic line, Echo Zack 3 actually uses its 3 freeze on some medicine bottles, which the nurse goes to catch, but quickly realizes that because of 3 freeze, they're too heavy to actually pick up on her own, and asks Koichi to help her, only for Koichi to then spit all of the words she said at him back in her face, pointing out that he will only help her if she agrees that she was wrong, and also agrees to give him the information he asked for. At which point she does, at which point Josuke barges through the front door of Budogaoka Hospital, still on the motorcycle, by the way, and in the brief second where he's traveling through the lobby, Koichi gives him all the information he needs, pointing out that he's on the 5th floor, 525, and that Koichi needs to hurry. So Koichi does exactly that, taking the elevator, but Highway Star proceeds to worm its way through the doors, despite being held off by Crazy Diamond. And Koichi actually does have to help him, using 3 freeze to pin one of them down so that he can immobilize them, and causes the Highway Star's little feet to escape. Although most of them do manage to get through the air vent instead of the elevator. So Josuke unfortunately does wind up getting attacked by Highway Star as he's entering the room. At which point we actually are introduced to Highway Star stand user Yuya Fungami. And as you can expect, Yuya Fungami is bedridden. He's got a broken arm, a bad back. He's actually got a breathing tube with several catheters up his nose. He's got casts everywhere. And basically he's immobilized and unable to be injured, which does confirm why. And as Josuke collapses as Highway Star starts to suck his nutrients, Yuya Fungami actually does reveal that it is indeed the stand's innate ability to actually heal his injuries using its ability. At which point, Yuya's fangirls proceed to kind of beat up Josuke a little bit, only for him to call them off and point out that they need to take care of him instead and focus on him, pointing out that and they do, because they are kind of head over heels in love with Fungami. They kind of love him to death. One of them goes to get his pee bottle, which he explicitly points out that they all fight over. It's a little bit weird, but it makes sense. I guess it makes sense because they're very fanatical, we'll put it. Hence they're fangirls, so obviously yes. But as they're trying to take care of him, get his pee bottle, he actually demonstrates his unique sense of smell, which he attributes to the fact that he's actually sucked out a bit of nutrients from Josuke, and points out that his nose is suddenly feeling better. At which point he demonstrates his incredible sense of smell, able to tell that a peach was too ripe from across the room, and even able to tell that one of the girls was on her period, which she just kind of blushes and doesn't really deny, but But as he's regaining his sense of smell, he actually notices that he smells somebody's adrenaline and senses that somebody is pissed off. And proceeds to ask all of his fangirls in turn, who all deny it, only for it to be revealed that Josuke actually survived the attack from Highway Star, having sucked out nutrients from Fungami's catheter that on his IV. And Josuke even admits it wasn't enough, but enough that he's able to actually stand now. So thanks to that, Josuke was able to survive the attack against Highway Star. At which point Fungami proceeds to point out that he can't actually approach him, and points out that Highway Star still has his scent, only for Josuke to suddenly punch him in the stomach with Shining Crazy Diamond. I keep calling it Shining Diamond because that's its other name, but he starts punching it. He punches him in the stomach with Crazy Diamond, pointing out that he's a lot faster than Highway Star will ever be, and points out that the closer he gets, the faster his stand actually gets. At which point Fungami proceeds to try and dissuade Josuke from actually beating him up, pointing out that he's still very much injured, and that it would be very cowardly for Josuke to actually beat up an injured man. At which point Josuke reveals that he knows the situation and knows that it would be bad if he beat the shit out of a guy who was already injured. So he reveals that what he did instead was he healed Fungami and then proceeds to beat the shit out of him. So, and the look on Fungami's face as he just realizes that he's now going to get the shit beaten out of him is just priceless. He just realizes, oh, I'm better now. Oh, I'm going to get my ass kicked now. It just goes from, oh, I'm perfectly fine, I'm perfectly healthy, and then he just realizes, oh shit. So, and then at which point Josuke sends him flying out a window and into a fountain, with Fungami maintaining his stay indefinitely until he heals naturally rather than using Highway Star. With Josuke even implied off screen to have used Highway Star to imply that if Fungami uses Highway Star to heal himself again, Josuke will just come back and kick his ass again. So yeah, Fungami quickly learns his lesson that he can't cheat with Highway Star to heal himself. So yeah, Fungami is down for the count. But in any case, after that whole ordeal, Josuke goes back to the tunnel with Jotaro in tow, and then proceeds to heal Rohan back to his former self. Only for Rohan to then belittle Josuke for obvious reasons. First and foremost being that Josuke triggered the trap on purpose to lower Highway Star in and after him, which he openly admits made the fight a lot harder than it should have been. Instead, Josuke could have just done all of what he just did without having to fight Highway Star. He could have just gone off on his own, let Highway Star suck his nutrients for a little bit, and then just beat him and then come back and heal them. But in case with that, Highway Star has been defeated. So yeah, Highway Star is no longer going to be being a threat in the hero's side. But there is one last thing that happens at the end of this episode, which is that as it's raining and as Kawajiri goes to get ready for work, Shinobu actually goes in the basement to do some laundry and discovers a cat sleeping on some of the laundry, and proceeds to ask it where it came from and how it got in. So even though it's heavily implied that the window was open and that it just got in that way. So yeah, that's basically how the episode ends, with Shinobu finding a cat in the basement. That's how it ends. But yeah, this episode just kind of showcased an episode where the protagonist had to literally race against the stand that moved at 60 miles per hour in order to find a stand user that he knew nothing about. And he did it, but in the process he also broke some actual laws. He talked on his cell phone while driving, which is very illegal for very obvious reasons. Not the first and foremost being that if you're not watching your cell phone instead of watching the road, you're going to hit somebody. Although in Josuke's case, it's fine because he can use his stand to break up his vehicle and then go around the person rather than go run them over. But in real life, there are no magical stand powers or anything else that can enable you to do that. So don't talk on your cell phone while driving. But in any case, that's my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks, and I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. And also, if you want to see more videos from me, then be sure to go check out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent video. It may or may not be this one. Whereas the bottom video is the video that is recommended to you based on what you've already seen from me. So if you want to see something new or something that you already like, then be sure to check either of those out. But regardless of whether or not you do any or all of those things, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!